Hello everyone, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new Explained, and today we are going to have a look at the Supertest infos about the Battle Pass Season 3. Because as you've probably seen, there was an article about it, and well, I want to go step by step through the article, give you my personal thoughts and opinions on it, as well as give you all the necessary info in this article. Now, there are two main features in this article, one of which being the new mechanics and the other which being the customization items you can achieve through this Battle Pass. Now, the first and biggest change is obviously that this seasons of Battle Pass is going to be around standard and bounty equipment. It is basically an introduction to the new equipment system. So, they added 2 new bounty equipments as rewards. And on top of that, you will be able to select the equipment item you want to receive, which means that in Season 3, you'll get the equipment you really need. We already discussed that in the previous video where we got the first information about this, where they want to do it like in a token system. The question is if they keep on doing the token system while going through that article. I sadly didn't saw anything explaining or talking about this token system, but in the end, the most important thing is it does sound like that people which do not have the improved Battle Pass will have the opportunity to decide which bounty and which standard equipment they really want. Which is a very, very good thing, and I think is like this was one of the main main arguments against the Battle Pass, or for the Battle Pass, that it is pay to win, that better players usually always got the more important equipment, especially when there was something like a tank gun rammer versus a GLD. GLD being much less useful than a tank gun rammer, for example. But you will also get demounting kits, which is a very good thing, especially with still people trying to figure out what is best for their purposes. Now, one of the new equipments is this survivability equipment, the improved configurations, I think it is called. I'm actually not sure. Now, this one right here is the standard equipment, how it usually looks. You have 25% or 35% to repair speed, 100 or 150% durability to ammo rack, fuel tanks, engine durability, 50 to 65% less penalty to losing engine power or your module or your loading speed, and lastly, you have 50 or 65% less chance of catching fire. Now, that is fairly okay, I personally would say. Now, obviously, this only, you can see the different numbers are only when you have it in an, in an active survivability slot, which is only for heavy tanks. Now, when you are upgrading the bounty equipment, this is what you will get. You get 40% repair speed, 150% ammo rack durability, 70% less speed penalty and less ammo rack penalty, and 70% less to chance of fire, and the effect should stay the same. I can't speak Cyrillic, but we didn't hear anything about them getting changed. And this is actually very, very interesting, because if we start to compare that to the improved configurations, which is the bond stuff, it is actually a little bit better in the loading and in the engine fire thingy. Now, the question is, this might also be just a little bit of a mistake, Obviously, the repair speed will be the most important one. But it's still kind of interesting that in 2 other categories, it's actually slightly better. But then again, those categories are not as important as the repair speed. Maybe Wargaming is still going to change this. Obviously, this is from WhatExpress, or rather the Supertest information website in Russian. So that's very interesting to see that the improved configuration actually has a little bit better, only one thing better, while the bounty improved configuration is a little bit better in other situations. We can't really do that with this equipment. This rotation thingamajings, which I don't know the name at the moment, is so far there are no bond equipment equivalents to that one, which is, I guess, is good, because that thing is basically like a stabilizer or a baby stabilizer for things which cannot mount a stabilizer, or for people like me which absolutely hate the bad shots gun handling, so they decided to put in another stabilizer. So that is fairly interesting to say the least, because you can see that you can get up to 12.5% accuracy during turret traverse and vehicle traverse, which is good. And you can also get up to 12.5% better vehicle traverse speed. So that's very, very interesting. But you can see that the bounty equipment goes up to 15% without any, without any problems, you know? So for example, if you now look at the budget and it's cumulative, that's a pretty steep increase. You have the 25% of the normal stabilizer, plus another 15, that's like 40% more. But then again, when, for example, you decide to look at my personal budget, not the CS52 list, which we actually dropped in a gun mark because a lot of people were playing it. And you can see this one right here can also give, well, this one right here gives 25%, excuse me, I like that. And we can add this another 2.5%, which gives us all the way up to 40%, which is very, very strong. Like, that's an insanely strong accuracy on the move. But then again, you could decide to take this one and it would have 42.5% accuracy on the move, which just sounds insane. Please also don't forget that obviously that thingamajigs right here obviously can be used in casemate TDs as well as artillery, which is the biggest drawback of it, because it gives another pretty decent buff to artillery when they just move from left to right, and it's not like that artillery is not cancerous enough. Now, there's another change which will usually be only there for the newer players, and they decided to make it a little bit easier for new players which don't really have that many tier 6 or tier 7 tier 10 vehicles yet, and they will give out 3 tier 7 vehicles for free, which you can rent. Well, they're just rents, you know, which allow you to earn progression points. And as soon as you completed the first 10 main progression stages or acquired enough vehicles to do so, then you will maybe able to buy the improved battle pass. I'm pretty sure that as soon as you were able to get the 10th main progression stages, which is probably where you can decide which bounty equipment you want to have, because otherwise it wouldn't make a lot of sense to just cut it right there. They most likely will take away the tank again, or I'm not sure what they want to be doing and what tier 7 vehicles will be for rent. If there will be premium, if there will be special tanks, if there will be just tech 3 vehicles. Because if, for example, if they give premiums, then obviously you will be able to grind some credits as a new player, which is an absolutely fantastic thing if you ask me. But then again, you shouldn't forget that usually it's always a good idea to grind your way up to tier 7, because you start to learn a lot more. This is also something which I personally saw while playing War Thunder. It's not a good idea to just jump right into your premium vehicle at 9.0 and expect to perform well. And other than that, they also did some rework on the interface, and that's about it. Now let's move on to the customization. The first one is the E5. Yeah, I should probably have talked about that. The E5 and the IS-4 are the main tanks of this main progression. And the other thing is that everything is all about Marine. So both tanks should have some feeling to it that they are supposed to be used by the Marines. And it's kind of interesting in my personal opinion, because I think this time the skins look a lot better than in the second season. I didn't like the TVP style. It was a little bit too much, especially with those, how should I say, what are those? Some weird little plows, mine plows, and M48 pattern was simply just too much. This one right here is close to be a little bit too much, but in my opinion it takes me a lot, like, not as much out of the game than a freaking surfboard. It looks rather colorful, to say the least. But then again, it's very interesting. You have an additional anti-air machine gun, I would say, or just a machine gun in general. You have some radio equipment, which is probably used for this scouting drone. And this is very, very interesting, because you have here the folded wings, you have the drone back here, and apparently you have an additional engine for this plane right there. To that, you obviously also have your spotlight right here now being covered up. Not really know what that part right there is. Probably part of a rangefinder system, maybe even a laser rangefinder. And in general, I just feel like this skin is just so much more believable than a one with dirty socks warning, they are toxic and stuff like that. So I'm very happy how they look, and I'm very happy how the E5 skin looks, especially with the E5 getting buffed. This obviously means you will probably be even more happier to play this tank. The other one is going to be the Triton for the IS-4. This one is also fairly interesting. I like the E5 skin a tiny touch more. Also, don't forget to leave a comment below to let me know if you want to have like a skin spotlight when we get these skins. You know, that would be a good idea, and let me know in the comment section if you want to see that. Now, the IS-4 skin, I love the color scheme. The color scheme is absolutely great in my opinion. It's actually something which I can't really remember if we have in the game or not. I also like that Wargaming decided to add a cloth around the gun mantlet, and they added those fictional and not usable armor plates at top of the turret like the IS-4 has it. You once again get 2 additional anti-aircraft guns, and because this is marine and there was a lot of space back on the IS-4 trunk, they decided to put down a rubber dinghy, a rubber boat basically. And obviously you don't want to row that, you also have the engine right there, which is in my opinion very cool. You also get another gun, just to be safe, up there, and it generally looks also like a good skin. The only real thing I have to say is, I know rubber boats usually are red, but it kind of is a little bit too eye-catching in my personal opinion. Also, this is I'm not sure what that is. It kind of looks like either it is a it's a helmet. It's a baseball or hockey helmet. I was first like, is this a volleyball? No, apparently it looks like it's a helmet, and like looks like a hockey helmet. Why is there a hockey helmet? Makes no sense to me. But then again, I might just interpret it wrong. Now, obviously, you are going to be able most likely to decide between 2 different crews once again. We will most likely have the American one and the Russian one, and both of those will come with a 0 perk, Brothers in Arms, and the ability to learn 2 additional skills, which means they are very valuable to you as a player, because you just get a free commander with Brothers in Arms as a 0 perk skill and 6th sense and most likely a view range skill. There will be also some new 2D styles, one being the Lady Love style, which you can see right here on the E3. One thing I really do like about this style is that even though it's just a style, it kind of looks like there was another camo scheme below it, and it started to erode a little bit away. So that's a very cool effect, and I have to say applaud to that one. And there's another 2D style, which I don't really know what the name is of, and it also looks good. It's a little bit less colorful than the other one, so I'd say that is also totally alright. Where we are, there is victory. Depends which you are talking about. And lastly, there are 2 new protection decals, one of which being with a machine gun and the other one just being a marine girl. And lastly, you will be able to get some emblems which are from Soviet and US Marines. And I'd say this is probably... I actually don't know which one is which, to be honest. I was guessing that this one is Soviet and this one is Marine, because usually the American... I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below if you know the answer or what your thing is. And with that, we end the video with our conclusion. Again, I think it is a good thing that you are now allowed to take whatever whatever bounty and maybe even standard equipment you want from a certain pool, as it is very interesting and very good in that sense that you as a player are allowed to take whatever you want and not take what Wargaming says you have to take, especially when you don't want to buy the improved Battle Pass. The improved Battle Pass is obviously still rather expensive. I do guess it's still at 6,500 gold, which is, again, it is expensive if you don't have the necessary funds from, for example, Christmas boxes. And always, but I do have to point out, without shilling to Wargaming, you do get quite a decent chunk out of it, depending how you are valuing those tier 10 skins. Because usually there is a lot of work going into them, I would say, and they both look very good. And I have to say, this time they look a lot better than the ones we had before. So yeah, that is everything I'm having for you today. Don't forget to do the same thing and give me some personal feedback. And if you're new to the channel and managed to get this far into the video, don't forget to subscribe. I will always try to give you the latest World of Tanks news, even because that's my jam, you know? Thank you so much for watching. Cheers, good luck on the battlefield, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.